Good morning. Tea time with Jen. Today we're having some chai. Um, Grab your cup. Join me. So those who watch my other videos, my daily quick videos, know that yesterday the doctor told me that there was a 1%, and I'm not sure that number is accurate, chance that I would remain permanently bald, permanent alopecia. And I think there's a higher percentage that there'll be some growth, like kind of a male pattern balding growth, versus all the hair growing back. Um, Also, in my research last night, I found that it's a little premature. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is set this to the side and not worry about it for now. Any grieving or pity party and any of that, I'm going to wait. What I found was that for this particular medication, Taxotere, Taxol, Doxotaxel, depending on what flavor you got, and Doxotaxel seems to be one of the worst. Um, the hair, even if your hair is going to grow back beautifully, it often takes 3 to 6 months. This is different than the previous chemos I've taken. Previously, my hair grew back more in the 4 to 6 week, and I don't want to say grew back like I had hair. I mean that all the empty follicles, and even hair in the rest of my body started, like you had the little stubbles. You could see that there was hair growing. It was probably in that 3 month range before you had like a kind of a little pixie going on, no bangs yet, that kind of thing. So, but 3 to 6 months is much longer than 4 to 6 weeks to know if you're getting your hair back. Um, so I've really been considering how I feel about this, what I think, and thought, just like everybody else, I'll share my thoughts on the internet. Now, I thought I'll share it here and it might help you, or maybe you have some guidance for me, or you could share your experience down below. Like I said, 3 to 6 months. Okay, so let's start from how do I feel about it? As far as being bald, it doesn't bother me too much. As you all know, I've been rocking the bald. I don't feel compelled to wear a wig all the time or even a hat. I wear it when I go outside to protect my skin and to keep me warm, but not because I'm embarrassed that my head, that my head's bald. So that doesn't really bother me. That's who I am, and that's the way it goes. I think if I did end up with that male pattern baldness thing, I probably would shave on purpose and just stick with the bald. I'm not sure you can really rock that male pattern baldness as a female. I don't know, maybe I can work a good comb over. I don't think I would have the patience nor the inclination to do some kind of prosthetic or wig to go with that male pattern baldness, which is the only way I think it would be palatable to me. So I'd rather just be bald. But I think I'm not going to borrow trouble. I'll figure it out when we get there, right? So I think the first thing is to, excuse me, patiently wait for the 3 to 6 months, 3 to 6, and see what happens. I think when I think about my feelings on it, I think that I'm quite upset that I didn't know that this was a possibility, that I hadn't set my expectations. And, I guess from the doctor's perspective, you can argue that it was only a 1% chance, but it was only a 1% chance that I got this breast cancer. And it was only a 3% chance that I got the ovarian cancer that I got 20 years ago. So I'm pretty much rocking those really small percentages. So it's really good for me to know what they are and prepare myself. So I'm a little aggravated with that, but I can understand. I mean, I went back through the paperwork, which I had read originally, but I'm like, well, maybe I just overlooked it, thinking, oh, small percentage or something. But I went back and I couldn't find anything in the paperwork that said permanent alopecia. It did mention as a side effect hair loss, but you find that with all chemos. All chemos say hair loss. They don't say permanent hair loss. So I think that really, I don't know if I want to say upset, but I think that's bothered me. It's I guess upset's fine. I think I don't even know. I feel like struggle is too strong of a word, but I feel that I think that has to do with my personality, right? I think there's some people that probably would not like to know that permanent alopecia is a side effect and just deal with it when it comes and keep their head in the sand. And I think for me, I'd like to know everything in the front of me and then make choices and prepare myself. So I think that's where my struggle comes from. I wasn't prepared to hear that, but now I know, and now I have 3 to 6 months to prepare, I guess. Well, I guess I have 1 to 4 months to prepare because it's already been 2 months. So in any case, so we'll see how that goes. I think there's nothing I can do about that now. It's already passed, so there's no sense getting hung up on that. And then I continue thinking about, you're rocking the bald. It doesn't bother you. I'm pretty freely bald out and about. And, I think I mentioned in my video yesterday, I went to Costco. I don't have any issue with that, right? But I think the thing that does bother me a bit is I feel like this bald is kind of an advertisement, a walking advertisement for illness, for cancer in particular. In our society, most women do not willingly remove all their hair. And therefore, when you see a woman who's bald, the first assumption is she's sick. Now, and she's sick with this catastrophic illness, cancer, that made her lose her hair because of the medication they gave her. Now, I know there are women that have alopecia, and they don't have cancer, right? And I guess the best thing I can do is be my healthiest self. Somebody commented on yesterday's video that, wow, you got 9,000 steps. And I think I got close to 10, maybe even more by the end of the day. But, I'm not able to do upper body exercise yet because of the surgery I had 2 weeks ago, but I'm allowed to walk, and I've been trying to get as much walking and movement in as possible. And I can say that I feel the best I felt in the last 6 months. Like physically, I feel the best. So I just have to cling on to that and keep getting healthier and healthier. And that could also help my hair grow if it's going to grow. I do know that for the first probably month to 6 weeks, when I would normally be growing hair, my body was still very much recovering from the chemo, right? I think you guys remember my electrolytes were very low, my hemoglobin, my iron, anemia, all the things. And then 2 weeks ago I had surgery, and anesthesia, and the surgery also puts a stress. Like even if I had hair, back in the days when I had hair and I had surgery, when you go through that, it impacts the hair. So it could certainly impact hair growth. So I think for now, I'm going to be grateful that we have modern medicine and I'm doing well and I feel great. And we're just going to take the permanent alopecia as it comes. And I think my only hang up really with the permanent alopecia is that advertisement, the broadcast, what do they call those? The big signs. What are the big signs on the side of the road? I'll pop it up here if I can remember. Anyway, I just feel like it's a big advertisement. This chick is sick. And if I'm not sick anymore and I'm still bald, and I don't care for the look that people get when they look at you and they realize how sick you are, because this is an advertisement for cancer. Now, I own my cancer. I'm happy to talk about it, as you all know. And, I'm not quiet about it, but it does wear a little bit when people's perception of you is tainted by that. On the flip side, I think I'm generally positive, and I think if I can continue to get stronger, then that will show everyone that it's not just about that. And maybe that's my approach. So maybe the thing I can do right now is just continue to get stronger and stronger, and we'll play it by ear. So I guess the summary of how do I feel about this prospect of permanent alopecia is I'm a little bent about not knowing that it was a possibility, about not being able to set my expectations. So that's a little concerning. And I can say that the doctor's office, the nurse practitioner and the doctor, they both mentioned cold capping to me. And I have my own set of opinions about cold capping, and I declined to do that. But they didn't say, well, if you don't do that, you might lose all your hair and never get it back. Nobody said that. So that might have changed my opinion, right? But for now, I'm going to just let that go. There's nothing I can do about the past, right? That's 6 months ago that I could have found that out. And as a general rule, and I think this is the right thing, I don't try to search for information about a treatment rather than talk to my medical professionals. You know, so I didn't have any reason to go investigate each of the chemos, right? This is the protocol I need to be on to get healthy. This is the best course of action for me. This is what my doctor is recommending. I'm going to go. I'm not going to go back and argue with them about it. Maybe if I have to do this again, I'll do a little more research. Anyway, but I don't think that would have changed my outcome. It just would have set my expectation differently, right? I don't know that I would have argued against the treatment because they're the professionals, not me. But I might have had the proper expectation set in my head. And that would have been better for me. Not everyone, but for me. As an example, the first time that I had breast cancer and I went to the plastic surgeon, they had a very aggravating approach of segmenting the information they gave you. So they gave me all the information about the first surgery where my breast surgeon did the mastectomy and they did the first part of reconstruction. But they didn't tell me that there were subsequent parts of reconstruction. Like the first was temporary implants and then they would be in for this time and then they would come out. And then the next ones would come in and da-da-da-da. Like none of the next steps were shared with me. And their experience was it was overwhelming for people and it was better to just give them the next step. But for me, I needed to see the whole picture. I needed to understand what is the plan. What does my next 1, 3, 6 months look like? You know, it wasn't just get through this surgery. It was get through this surgery, heal, and then have another surgery and heal, and then, you know, do so forth and so on. And I struggled with that quite a bit because when I brought that first paper home, I thought that was the whole plan. I didn't understand that the plan extended beyond that. So I think that's just a Jen thing. She needs to know the whole picture to prepare properly. So I think that is very aggravating and upsetting to me. But I think, like I've already said multiple times, I need to let that go. I haven't yet, apparently, because I've told you multiple times how upset I am. But I'm gonna let that go. There's nothing I can do about it now, and there's no sense getting upset about it. And as far as what we're gonna do about permanent alopecia, I think we're gonna wait 4 months, as I've already done 2, and then we'll start having that conversation. And if a pity party is needed or a plan, then we'll go. But I think for now, I'm just going to enjoy the quick in and out for the shower. That is one of the big positives of not having hair. Like the getting ready. That's a very quick lab. I do wash it and condition it, believe it or not. The little teeny bit of hair that's there. But getting out's easy peasy lemon squeezy. You know, I wrap it up in the towel to get out. It's not dripping, but I do that anyway, just to keep me warm. And then by the time I take it off, dry, no problems. Actually, I'm going to pack up my hair dryer and all those things for a while. No need to have them cluttering the bathroom, right? All right. Thank you all for listening. Tomorrow's going to be a better day. Be well. If you have any tips, advice, thoughts about this whole permanently bald thing, share them down below. Thanks.